neck.
Kill the rabbits.
No, I don't think he was. I didn't say he was going to do it to himself. I mean, I volunteered.
Did you ever prank call the suicide hotline when you were?
No.
What?
No,
I would never.
You ever go to the suicide village in Japan?
I guarantee you, Yakuza did lose it.
It wasn't suicide hotline, but I did. It was sound bites.
Yeah. Because they can't do anything.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was the right. Yes.
Those are the sound bites.
Yeah, that's what he said.
I'm just saying the suicide hotline is useful.
Is it?
It's like, that's it. I'm done. I have nothing left. I have no job. I have no family. I have no food. Someone at an 800 number is going to save you.
Hello, this is Jupiter.
Yes. Hello, this is Bob. Where are you, Bob? Atlanta.
It's nice and hot. It's December, Bob.
Actually, maybe that would help. Are you having it bad? Oh, I'm sorry. Your wife left you. My wife died in a sandstorm. And by the way, that was kind of a true food because I ate that for 3 weeks. I ate sand balls. Could have been my dead wife. Eat them all.
The suicide hotline prevention is just somebody who has it worse than you.
You have a shotgun with a good reader. Must be nice to be able to own firearms. Okay, on history we can't because our government takes from us. And then they hate all of us.
And then they every day in my food.
Yes. In Atlanta, Scott City, too many police.
Same guy was going to call my grandpa 2 hours later and try to sell him antivirus that he doesn't have.
Yeah, I get heckled by
Hello, Jody.
operator.
Let me tell you about McCafe. He likes to do things in a hammock in Belize, but we all make mistakes.
We have sponsors of the suicide hotline.
I was watching CNN this morning because we put up right to be able to. I am not kidding. It was 2 minutes of nothing but prescription medication.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
That's one of them was for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis,
3 a.m. So
and then one was for diabetes. Then one was for something I don't know.
When does plaque psoriasis go from moderate to severe?
I don't know, but it goes through. Nick developed
what about restless leg syndrome?
Yeah,
RLS.
you shake your leg. Here's a pill.
I got that.
May cause you to die if your legs won't shake.
No, poor you, because that's usually a woman's disease.
I have a lot of estrogen. Don't judge me.
Do you take a pill for it?
For estrogen?
No, for restless leg.
I have some. I don't take them.
No. What?
No, I'm a man.
I mean, she can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I. Okay, fine. I guess maybe I have restless leg. I keep my leg.
That's different.
That's stinky. I do it.
Where does it cross over into a syndrome?
Where you don't want it to shake and it still
Oh, you don't want it?
to shake.
Yeah. So, most people, it's called a tick. I'm sure I'm the worst disease that's ever existed. Okay, go. I'm sure that you would rather have teeth.
So, like, speaking of restless leg syndrome, do you talk to us about it? This
Why do you have light to moderate plaque psoriasis? Is that why you asked?
I don't even know what plaque psoriasis is, to be honest. I think it's like eczema, right? I think it's like eczema in your mouth. I don't think you get that from normal
I don't think it's in your mouth.
Plaque.
Well, yeah. Oh, okay.
Or is it in the ward?
Well, I guess there's psoriatic arthritis where you see the psoriasis, but beneath the surface, it's in your joints.
Right. Research says is 10% severe is 10%.
10% what?
But what is psoriasis?
I'm 10% psoriasis. Like body fat?
Whoa.
Is that the same thing? I have 8% of me is
Somebody
psoriasis.
out there that has it right now is like,
Jesus, people just pull it out.
guys.
As they scratch their arm out.
I can't stop scratching. There's a comic, really funny named Rocky LaPorte. You watch this, ask your doctor about it.
Been working. Yeah, they look like they're working
My
hard.
doctor know that? Sorry, there's nothing we can do for it. I think you're gonna die. Oh, what about the strict? Oh, yeah, I guess we could try that.
That's a good Rocky LaPorte.
Yeah, I remember he had a bit when I think Obama had just become president. He was talking about someone pumping in Jersey. He was like, "Hey, you want me to fill up the tank?" I said, "No, how about you just put it about 80?" Which back then was like, that's crazy. Now that's what you're spending if you have an SUV on gas for crying out loud. Let alone if you have a rapist thing. It spares no one.
Spending it on a car. Up in Washington prices.
Do you remember our super secret shitty news van project?
I remember that, yeah.
And then after I crashed on the freeway, I was like, yeah, this is not safe. This is We had an old church van that was seat 18 people. We got the giant roof on it, and I put it black, red, and white. Red, white, and blue. It was black before. We changed it to red, white, and blue shag carpeting on everything, and velour seats. And then we realized it was terribly unsafe.
On a road trip.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then it was because we hit it with golf clubs and hockey sticks, like slap shot to make it look mean.
Yeah, look, that sounds really cool.
And we had a sticker that said "Super Secret Shitty News Van," and then we just had to sell it because I almost died.
It was undrivable.
It was undrivable. Did you try driving it?
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Missing a catalytic converter.
It's not
Would not pass the
Steven's mechanic came over.
Yeah, that was the last time I trusted it.
Tried real hard to make that thing drive.
Oh, sorry, your van is hard to drive. Must be nice to have a van.
Okay.
I ride on top of bus. No, I know you're thinking, no, I ride on top of the bus. They put me on top. It's not even a guardrail. You ever seen
Somebody
that
write
in
this.
India?
Yeah, I know. Somebody write this down. I love the heckling suicide prevention hotline.
Lost my job. Oh no! Oh, did you hear? Oh, he lost. What did you do? Tell me, what did you do? What did you do? What was your job? You can't get another job? Here I are no jobs. I'm talking to you.
We got hiring here in Atlanta.
See that? Exactly.
Yeah.
That is
Oh, I
me
love
with
that.
my family. I sent you a picture. Open your phone. That is not me with some family. That is my whole family. I support them talking to you, and you are wasting my time. If you want to kill yourself, get on with it. Do it.
Take that
Do it.
pictures in Chihuahua coming over to El Paso.
Before you do, please take a minute to fill out the survey.
Oh, this is yeah, this one doesn't count. This is just for fun on this channel. This is the backup channel. Yeah, we didn't reset this, I don't think. Wrong channel.
Speaking of terrible places, you said this is kind of a...
Yeah, other channel. Yeah, I have it on here, but it's just for fun on here.
Because if you look at the refugee situation, the Saudis won't take them.
I'm going to do a desktop stream from the regular channel, though, today.
The Iranians won't take them even though they're backing their entire platform. Why? It's because they both know the Palestinians are only trouble wherever they are.
Yeah.
But the Iranians can use... Now, remember the Wall Street Journal put out that report that confirmed Iran's involvement? Yeah. And no one will corroborate it, but it seems like the bureau heads in the Middle East know what they're talking about. I don't think this could have ever happened if Iran didn't give the go-ahead. Because Saudi Arabia and Israel are about to normalize relations, and if that happens, that basically takes Iran's influence out of the region.
Yeah,
And so they cannot have that happen.
You skipped over something, though, and you said it just now, but I think a lot of people in the audience don't know this about the Wall Street Journal report.
Yeah.
So we saw a report from them immediately, right? What was that, like Sunday or Monday?
It was the day after
the day after the attack, so it was Saturday, so it came out on Sunday, basically saying that Iran obviously was behind this and approved this attack, meaning they approved it, not necessarily they were completely behind it, but they approved of this attack. There was a meeting, I think, that they referenced. You said that the people here, stateside, didn't want to run that story.
Right. The editorial board at the Journal did not want to run it. It was the people on the ground in the Middle East, their reporters, that said, no, we know this is true. We're going to run it anyway.
Right.
And they overrode the editorial board.
They overrode the editorial board, and then the White House comes out. And listen, on Sunday, I was watching the Sunday shows. They said, oh, it's irresponsible to say that Iran was involved with this. I know that the moderator for me was giving Matt Gaetz a hard time about that. I thought Blinken or one of the other guys was on there getting a bit of a hard time about that, saying, oh, we don't know who it is. And then yesterday I saw, or in the evening, I think before I left, I saw the lower third on CNN. The White House says, no evidence that Iran was involved. So they're back to the same thing where they're like, hey, no, exactly.
But there's plenty of foreign news sources that are also corroborating what the Journal bureau is saying.
Well, and then we were talking, what was the, I don't know if we got that clip of, what was it, which clip was it in Europe when they went crazy from firebombing?
Oh, yeah, I think we have that. It was after somebody tweeted and burned a Quran.
Yeah.
Iraqis in Iraq stormed the Swedish embassy and tried to burn it down.
Wow.
Okay. Do we have those clips?
Yeah, that's the embassy clip.
Okay, and this is relevant because it ties back to the Christian and the Muslim who were talking there, because this is something that I think a lot of people sort of skim over and they say, oh, the Abrahamic religions, right? Okay, Islam, Judaism, Christianity.
One of those, not like the others.
But then you have to ask, why have Jews and Christians gotten along so well for so long? And Islam just doesn't seem to be able to play well with the rest of them. So the context matters here because they always, and by they, I mean not just terrorists, I mean the entire Islamic world, they will get up in arms if you blaspheme against their faith. Now, I don't think it's necessarily a thing to do, to be clear. However, we do live in a world where you're allowed to, and it happens all the time against certainly Christians and against Judaism. I mean, in a way, it's a very concerted effort. They have a Bible burning challenge, right? How many people were blown up from the Bible burning challenge? Now, you also need to understand that the entire faith of Islam, the entire religion of Islam is predicated on this premise that Jews lied, going back to Abraham, and Christians lied about Jesus. So they play this clever kind of word. They go, oh, no, we love Jesus. We see him as a prophet. But you say that Christians lied about the crucifixion and resurrection. We love Jews. They're people of the book. But you say that the Jews lied and subverted the text as far back as Abraham. Kind of occurs in the first act. So let's contrast what happened here, where someone burned a Quran, and this was the result with the Swedish embassy.
Peaceful fire.
Yes.
Mostly.
The expected burning of a Quran in Sweden.
Wow.
There are Swedish diplomats inside.
Yep. Ooh. Now, find me one example of that happening of people burning the Bible.
Morning, unindoctrinated.
You can't paint, you can't draw Muhammad, you can't pick Muhammad. Sorry, we live in a world where we can paint whatever we want. Right? That's even when we get into an argument of intellectual property versus, real property rights. Where, hold on a second. Do I now take over your property because I put ham, lettuce, bread, mayo, and call it a ham sandwich? It's my trademark. But hold on a second. You have those items. Are you not allowed to use them as you see fit? That's a whole other argument we can have, and libertarians have made that argument. Kind of that way with theology and with religion. They say, oh, you can't do that because we say you can't. Yeah, but the rest of the world says that we can. For example, I don't want people burning Bibles, but I'm not going to do anything about it. You have the right to burn a Bible. Also, God's not in that Bible. We don't have a very physical.
He's bigger than the physical pages within that Bible. And by the way, this is so common. This is so believed around the world that Muslims will react violently if you denigrate the Prophet or burn the Quran. The Benghazi lie was able to be told.
They said it was based on a YouTube video.
It was based on a YouTube video. Everybody around the world was like, well, they go crazy when stuff like that happens. Must be true.
I was in a hotel, and when they said it was based on a YouTube video depicting the Prophet, I thought, oh boy.
Right.
When I saw that news report, I thought, which one is it? Because I had, at that point, more plays on the Quran challenge than any other critical of Islam video that existed. I thought, my bad, if people were killed because of an anti-Islam YouTube video, it's going to be one of mine.
Right.
And then they blamed it on some video. They had like 245 plays, had nothing to do with it, but people bought it.
They bought it because of this so true in the world. And we even had in Texas, there was, I believe, a shooting in Garland, if I remember correctly. About something having to do with the Prophet. I know the Charlie Hebdo attacks, of course, France were because they drew the Prophet Muhammad on the cover of the magazine.
Muslims in America, and most of them I don't feel have bad hearts. I don't feel like they're bad people. You talk to them, they'll be very respectful and nice, but they have such a disconnect between what the religion says and what the Constitution allows for in America. Because before I turned the camera on in that video, she was talking about how Christ was not a divine figure. He was not the Son of God, which, correct me if I'm wrong, would be quote unquote blasphemous.
Of course it would be.
But as soon as
they say he's a prophet, by the way.
But as soon as the man says that question Muhammad, she's like, you can't do that. That's blasphemous.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't even occur to her. I don't think it's because she really knew what she was saying. I don't think they've ever taken into consideration how antithetical the two stances of like a free liberal society.
The entire religion of Islam, just to be clear. And by the way, there are a lot of Christian offshoots as far as sects.
There are,
that are blasphemous according to the Christian theological worldview. And by the way, I'm including not just one denomination. I'm saying that this would be certainly, even with Catholics and Protestants, but to the Protestant faiths. And yeah, I would say that Catholics to Islam is certainly antithetical to Catholicism because they deny the divinity of Christ. Their religion is predicated on it. So now, hold on a second. We get to the point where I can't draw, I can't paint any type of depiction of Muhammad. By the way, it's also a human form, not just Muhammad. Muhammad is just considered a bridge too far. Yet, your religion is based on the idea it cannot exist. It ceases to hold any water unless all the Jews are liars, unless all the Christians are liars. Now, let me give you an example of this. So what's worse? Drawing a picture of Muhammad, even if flattering, it's blasphemy to them, and we have to kowtow to these people. It's the world versus the Islamic faith saying, oh yeah, by the way, the Jews lied about the blessing of Abraham. This goes back, kind of central to their faith. So let me just give you so the Old Testament, right? Let's go to Genesis chapter 22, verse 2, where Abraham almost sacrifices Isaac. He probably needed years of therapy. We'll get into that in a day. And here's a verse. Then he said, take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I shall tell you. This is a test of Abraham's faith, right? This is a huge deal.
And it says his only son, which
his only
at
son,
that point, Ishmael
that
had
point
been born and had, Abraham had kind of jumped the gun a little bit. But the comparison to what the Quran says is pretty interesting about that same story.
The Quran, Surah 37, it tells of Abraham sacrificing his firstborn son, Ishmael. So they swap him. Then when the boy reached the age to work with him, Abraham said, oh, my dear son, I have a dream. I've seen in a dream that I must sacrifice you. So tell me what you think. He replied, oh, my dear father, do as you are commanded. Allah willing, you will find me steadfast. They swap Isaac and Ishmael.
So that's what they say. They say that what happened is at the beginning, this was swapped. So the Jews took the promise, essentially, and said, this is ours.
They stole it.
And they wrote it in the book and said, no, this is ours. And these other people, the Ishmaelites, these are bad people, right? But what they don't understand is God did also save the quote unquote Hagar and Ishmael were saved by God. Said, I will make a great nation of you as well. That promise. They went basically and sat under a tree ready to die because they were kind of put out from Abraham and Sarah. So that did happen. They did become a great nation, not a good nation, but a great nation in number.
But Islam says they lied and they stole the blessing.
Stole the blessing.
They said, we love the people of the book, except for when they lie. Well, come on, how far back are we talking? Genesis.
This place was packed when we got here.
So,
Not anybody here now.
So that is a lie. Yeah, until our guy came and corrected it. The same guy he thought that he saw a snake out in the cave, or a demon out in the cave. No, it was an angel.
What happened?
Yeah. So this is
this guy?
Yeah.
Oh, you drew him?
Yeah.
I missed something?
Oh, change the rule later.
What happened to a 6-year-old?
Fucking soft group of people. You drew my guy. You burned my book. What a fucking pussy ass thing to do. I'm sorry, Gerald. I know, but that's a fucking pussy ass thing to do.
No, it really is.
I'm gonna go interrupt these Swedish people. They're eating their fucking pancakes and their meatballs. I'm gonna go in here and ruin their life because of one pencil.
When I'm through with you, none of your beds will fold into bookcases.
The rule being IKEA down.
The rule just got out of hand. You know it was a guy, he just had a bad nose. Adam, just don't draw me. No, I don't need a picture. You just draw me.
There are plenty of Muslims out there who go, we asked them the blessing to lie and the Jews. But you know what, though? We'll let bygones be bygones. It doesn't change the fact that the faith said, no. If you believe the Old Testament, as all Jews do,
right,
it's a lie. The Jews lie. Now that brings us to Christianity. It's the same thing. So these people, meaning Muslims, are mad. They see it as blasphemy if you speak out against the Prophet Muhammad or if you depict him in any way. They also say that what you believe as a Christian is completely untrue. To say that Jesus is not crucified and resurrected is to say that Christianity is not real.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. That would be seen as blasphemy.
Morning,
Christians.
Jared. Morning, good dirty.
That's between you and God. I don't think you're going to like how this one ends up. Hot shot.
Can you imagine if
I'm going to be doing a desktop stream today. I don't care how busy it is.
Okay, so here, let's go to, let's use John as the Gospel News, chapter 20, verse 4 through 9. So it talks about the empty tomb, right? And C.S. Lewis talks about this. You have to deal with the empty tomb when you're dealing with this in Christian politics. So they both ran together, and the other disciple outran Peter and came to the tomb first. And he, stooping down and looking in, saw the linen cloth lying there, yet he did not. And then Simon Peter came following him and went into the tomb, and he saw the linen cloth lying there, and the handkerchief that had been around his head, not lying with the linen clothes, but folded together in a place by itself. Then the other disciple who came to the tomb first went in also, and he saw, and he believed. For as yet they did not know the scripture that he must rise again from the dead. Not he can, not maybe, depending how he feels that day. If he had a good breakfast, he must rise again from the dead. That's it. That's the only way this guy fulfills prophecy, Jesus Christ. That's the divine figure. Now, I'm not saying that you have to believe in this. Even if you're an atheist, you have to understand that that is foundational to the faith.
Yeah.
The Quran, we'll bring this up, Surah 4:157, denies the crucifixion of Jesus at all, and of course that means no resurrection. It says, and for boasting, we killed the Messiah, Jesus, son of Mary, the messenger of Allah, but they neither killed nor crucified him. It was only made to appear so. Think about that. That means that someone made it appear that way.
Yeah.
Who would make a resurrection? Not just, we're not just talking about the Romans at that point. We're talking about the apostles themselves, right? Because they would be the ones who invested.
The Jews.
The Jews.
Very clearly, what they are blaming here are the Jews for doing one of two things: either making the person on the cross appear to be Jesus, right? So it's deception, or he swooned, meaning that he was hurt, but he didn't die.
Well, they even go on the Quran, even those who argue for the crucifix assumptions, they certainly did not kill him. So this is why this is so important when they try and change the rules on you and say, hold on a second, burning the Quran is blasphemy, and we have the right to kill you because you proactively committed blasphemy. Well, hold on a second. Your religion is proactively blaspheming against both the Jewish religion and the Christian faith. And we don't see it as justification to murder you. This is something that is missed on so many people. There is no Islam without blaspheming.
Yeah,
it has to.
Blaspheming Christianity, blaspheming Judaism as well.
Yes.
Right? And I think a really good point, Lane, you brought up was antithetical to kind of living in societies around the world. So you look at a place like England, right? Western societies, right? England, with all the no-go zones that they've had, with all of the issues that they've had with these Islamic groups, kind of basically having Sharia courts. Remember we talked about that? We talked about the Sharia courts being set up in England. We've talked about it for years. This is completely antithetical because what they do is go, look, I understand you had your rules and that's nice and all, but they were saying something bad about my prophet. So therefore, now in this case, thankfully, it was just trying to turn something off and trying to mess with this person, which is, it's an annoyance. But take somebody else who's a little radicalized, a little bit more militant, a little bit more fired up about the moment, and you can imagine what happens. It probably evolves into a fight. It could potentially evolve into something even far greater than that, which we've seen over and over and over. By the way, the Dallas thing that I was referencing up in Garland, I think it was one police officer was killed and 2 others were injured, I believe. The numbers for somebody drawn on the prophets. So that's the kind of stuff
But
that
your
this evolves
family?
into, and it doesn't matter where you are, what the laws in your country are.
No,
This supersedes them in their mind.
I guess I
That's
just have
a hard time.
one question, and it's an honest question that I don't have an answer to. When I was at this rally, I see a lot of people that are probably people are most fastest of life. Most people are very nice, but I see also a religion that doesn't really believe in American values, or at least their religion supersedes them.
It does.
Whereas Christianity kind of intersects with American values. Obviously, we should not be bringing more refugees in from these places, but these people are just as American as you and I. They've done everything. So,
of COVID or with COVID?
I'm not advocating for deporting Muslims.
No,
That's ridiculous.
No, I'm advocating for people to understand the issue. And this is how I got started with the show. Right, I would call into the radio show, time there would be a bombing, and unfortunately at the time there was some kind of a terrorist attack around the world every other week, it seemed, where we would call and we would discuss kind of why.
That same guy, by the way, who rebutted with me, Talk Islam, he's pro-Hamas. He's been doing a bunch of
color me shocked.
Yeah.
The problem that most people have is they're like, oh, these are just believers like Christians, like Jews that assimilated to societies to whatever degree, even if they kind of stay together in some ways, shapes, or form, that's fine. But they assimilate into societies and they start following the laws of that society. That's the part always necessarily true. And the numbers that we talked about today are very important for people to understand. Okay, well, what does the Quran actually say that a Muslim is supposed to do with jihad? What do the hadith say that you're supposed to do with regard
What
to
does Muhammad
Christians? What does Muhammad say that you're supposed to do? And most Christians and Jews and atheists and agnostics or whatever camp you fall into don't know that. And so understanding the potential for the threat is to say, hey, look, I get it, right? And this is not, the comparison has been made, the KKK is to Christianity what terrorists are to Islam. That's not true. It was made in the West Wing, and it really pissed me off because I like the show. That is absolutely not true.
a Christ-driven justification for the KKK.
Right.
Wait. Now, find a Muhammad-driven justification for killing infidels. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's everywhere in the Quran.
They say it before they do it.
Yes.
Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, God is great, and then they blow something up. So my solution here, Lane, is not that people should deport Muslims. It's the exact opposite. Right? You need to understand.
I think
Islam.
the U.S. paid for it, but it was developed in China. Illegal research, trying to make a superbug, and it got out. They want us all dead, man.
It's the loving that
Not the Chinese, but our own masters want us all dead. I want us dead and in fear. Any comorbidities there? Yeah.
How do you address that? My friend was Muslim, and I've had Muslim friends too, but yeah, exactly the same thing. And I have no problem with people who are just good-hearted people that I have a disagreement with. That's not the issue either. But like, how do you help me understand this? Because it's not something that's in my mind. It's something that is driving behavior around the world.
You know what happens in Chicago, where this landlord stabs a family because they're Muslim. And it seems to be like
that's the equal and opposite.
It is equal and opposite reaction, but there are people that are also ignorant on quote unquote the Christian side. They're going to well, they want to kill. Well, I better kill them first, and that is just as abhorrent as anything that they do.
It just doesn't happen.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, and you don't see Christians going out and bombing in the name of God because somebody said something bad about God. You don't see that in any kind of mass number.
Even just look at the schisms that you have in the Christian church. Okay, right now it's like Catholics and Protestants. Okay. The entire
killed each other for a long time, but that was in Europe, and that was a long time.
By the way, it was also not just about religion; it was also about land and all.
Yeah, the French Catholics sided with the Protestants.
I'm talking about in England, they killed the Catholics because they were pissed off.
Well, there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they need a few.
The king wanted to marry somebody else.
By saying all dead, I meant anyone that's willing to stand up against them. But yeah, they still need slaves.
We believe in murdering Protestants, right?
They just get tired. They're tired of feeding all the slaves.
And for example, there's a huge
sending the herd. You're right.
Protestants and Catholics, by the way, and Mormons. Find me any Mormons who advocate for the death of Christians who deny any type of divinity or that Joseph Smith was a prophet. Now find me any Episcopalians, find me any Anglicans, Presbyterians, Pentecostals, Evangelicals who advocate for the death of Mormons for adding to the holy book. It doesn't happen. It only happens with Islam, and that is because the founder of the feast, Muhammad, said the Jews lied going back to Genesis and lied to make up the whole religion. We like Jesus, nice guy, but everything else is a lie. And it even outlines that those who were involved, meaning the disciples, were liars. And of course, Jews. In general, that is a very different foundation for a religion, combined with, and by the way, if any of them blaspheme against your religion, kill them. It's a brilliant ploy. And by the way, that's why it grows so rapidly in prisons. That's why Islam, when they say it's the fastest growing religion, but it's at the end of a sword. But think of Christian missionaries. Again, Christian missionaries, think of Mormons who go on mission trips. These would be disagreements, of course, in theology and philosophy. But guess what? They go down there to wherever it is that they're going, whether it's South America, whether it's Arizona, and they try and convert people. Islam is still conquering by the sword. That's where the term leatherneck exists, just to be clear. Islamic pirates, they had to put leather around. That's where it comes from because they were being beheaded. It's convert or die. Why? Muhammad prescribed that. Not all Muslims follow it. I just always find it, I guess I should say it irks me, at least at the very least a low-grade irritation. When you get mad because someone painted a cartoon of Muhammad, when you say that everything Christians believe and hold dear is based on Muhammad.
It's so silly. And you'd think that if you would start drawing Muhammad more, you could convince other people to convert. That a lot of Christians do.
That's too bad.
Sexy Jesus out there.
There are. Jim
White hair and blue eyes.
There are some good-looking Jesus. There are some scary-looking. The Catholics love a scary. Have you seen Korean Jesus? Oh, Korean Jesus.
Oh, like Black Hebrew Israeli Jesus? It's just Denzel.
I might have to try that out.
It's just Denzel.
He's like, my man.
Yeah, I'm a human sacrifice. I'm the perfect lamb, right? Okay. Hold on. What is that? That's ripped Jesus. That's
Wow. They got Brazilian Jesus up on the hill.
Yeah.
Dude, Jesus. Glorify Jesus. Glorify Muhammad. Just like we did instead of killing him. Crucifixion is good people.
Yeah.
He got to hold himself up.
Seen a lot of that, man.
Well, you're up there for 3 days. You come down looking like you would stand up. Hey, no.
At first, I thought the old motorcycle crash thing was anecdotal, but I've got friends working in the hospital saying, you know what, if they're able to, they will call it that because of the extra funding.
He had the original inDOCtriNATION.
That was explode up your ass. Ron Coleman, no explode. You guys remember that?
Oh my God. That was awesome.
Oh yeah,
no,
that's something horrible for it.
And Jack 3D.
Oh yeah, Jack 3D. Once I went in because I saw the bodybuilding magazine. They said first up, like I was a powerlifter. Said use one of these. I said okay. I went in, said, do you have no go to the vitamin shop? And also been there. Now what you want is this Jack 3D. I said really? Like, but the scoop is so small. He goes, yeah, because it's basically illegal.
And then it was really illegal.
Now it's allowed again, I think.
They banned it in the
A
army.
little bit of speed with some ketamine.
Some girl died in the army.
Well, that's what they used to have in nasal decongestants.
Oh,
That was banned in sport because, a lot of those things, veteran things, and it constricts, I guess, the nasal blood vessels. But yeah, Jack 3D. Yep, that was the thing. No one had it. Like, oh, wow, really does help workouts. Sure, because you could go lift a car.
Die afterwards, but hey, good lift.
if you want some, I got some.
I don't know why I'm
Oh,
losing
no.
my teeth, but
I did it 225 on incline, so
Losing teeth, building mass.
I don't give a shit about the sores on my face.
So my boss called me this morning saying that they need to run an app through my personal phone because of a court case they have against another staffing company to see just in case if I talked about anything to do with it, which I had nothing to do with. But I said, yeah, that's not going to happen. She's like, well, you don't have a work phone through us. You have some other company's work phone, but we need to check just to make sure. I'm like, no, you don't. Yeah. She's like, well, I have text to you. I'm like, yeah, so they can pull it off your phone then. Fuck that, man. No. See a subpoena. I don't have nothing to hide, but bullshit. Other than my Fourth Amendment.
Well, if we need people,
He's like, yeah, I'll set up a time for you to come by. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. You guys, you could send the sheriff out, and they could try, but guess what? They're not getting in the door. She's like, well, why? I just don't understand this. I'm like, you don't understand? Your right to privacy? So, we'll be see. There may be issues.
So anyway, no, I don't think so.
Another chat from a Jewish mean man. For everyone, do you guys have any worries about those pro-Hamas protests spilling into the violence against local Jewish communities? There have been one or two incidents around my area already.
You're not in Belgium, are you? In Europe, yes.
Or in Japan, that happened right outside of the Israeli embassy.
Yeah.
Did it?
Yeah, there was one person who was stabbed several
that's right.
times.
Yeah.
Fighting the video.
Did they confirm that though? That it was actually like a
I don't
terrorist
know,
attack and not just a.
Yeah, it could have just been a beef on it.
Could have been a homeless guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I would absolutely worry. If I was Jewish right now, one of the first things
I'd be worried if I were Jewish for sure.
Yeah, and that's what they said around Jewish communities. And I
Me too,
said
if I
one of the
was.
first things that I did on Monday was come in last week and said so when the attack happened and talked to Sam and he was talking about the potential for issues. And I still hate you, Sam, because you're able to understand. And I have to hate you.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, we've been just folding, and I was literally the only person at my work that refused to get the jab.
But the communities have to be careful.
They wanted me to get the jab after I had COVID.
Times like this, people are going to have issues with what Israel does no matter what. The UN is going to sanction Israel or are going to cite them for human rights abuses no matter what. It doesn't matter. They've done it more than any other country in the world. And Israel is not the country in the world that I think of when I think of human rights abuses. You morons. But they're going to go after you no matter what. You guys always have to. That's the model. It's like constant preparedness.
Not at all.
Things like this happen.
It may be one of the free, yes, but it's not free. That's for sure.
And you get to have them. Thank God. Because if somebody comes knocking, you can answer.
All right, final chat for the day.
Final chat from how is the war in Israel going to affect the stock market and/or affect the American dollar?
Oh, I don't know. Let's grab another chat. I don't have a crystal ball.
Zero.
We lose more and more every year.
Buy.
War.
Give me something to stash.
What are you, Jim Cramer?
Here's one. Bama girl in Texas asks everyone, do you think we're going to end up sending troops to Israel or Gaza? Are we inching closer to the
It doesn't upset me.
Josh,
They just haven't learned. They're ignorant.
I don't think that we're going to be. I mean, I think we absolutely should send in special forces.
I just shake my head at them.
I think they already have.
Outside of that, I don't think we'll be sending troops. And by the way, just to be clear, Israel has no interest in reoccupying Gaza.
No.
They are not trying to get it clear. They want to remove the capabilities of the people in Gaza, meaning Hamas, from destroying their lives. That's what they're not interested in taking Gaza. Just to be clear, they've been very, very straightforward in communicating that. So there would be no reason for the United States to enter this. And by the way, I would be against. I don't think the United States should be sending bodies. I have talked about the difference between morally supporting Israel's right to defend, and that's not a small thing. I think we should stop funding both sides of all of these wars. Like I've said in the past, I think, okay, you know what? We shouldn't be sending money to anyone over there right now. At the very least, let's stop unfreezing funds to Iran. $6 billion. Oh, okay. I think you're a little murky on the rules. I guess let's just stop sending any money to these nations that want to take part in wiping Israel face. And if that comes with, all right, we freeze funding to Israel as well, they come out ahead. That is very different from the moral, and this is super important, the moral obligation to support them in their right to defend themselves. You know why? Look at the misinformation out there on social media right now. They're using, meaning Hamas, they're using their people as human shields, getting that out there on social media to say Israel doesn't have the right to defend itself. You just saw that in the Dallas rally. You see it in Dearborn.
Yeah.
They don't believe that Israel has the right to defend itself. Really, let's think about this. Again, I understand Gaza, fine. West Bank, let's get, all right, argument over land. I think that you're misguided, but okay, let's accept that there are two sides to that issue. If not, the deliberate targeting and kidnapping of 700 innocent civilians, including women and children, kidnapping them, torturing them, raping them. If that is not a reason for Israel to respond as an act of war, then you don't believe that they would ever have the right to. That's simple. If not that, then what would be required? So, in other words, after Hamas did this, how do we know? They took credit for it, just to be clear.
Immediately.
They tried to say,
it was Voltaire.
The media. Hold on. Do I believe Hamas? Because they're talking about kidnapping.
They were
And
GoPros.
torture. Yeah, they were GoPros. Come on. They're uploading it to Facebook, to individual family members' pages, so they would watch their own children and grandmothers die, just to be clear, and then brag about it.
Yeah.
You can find this from from the horse's mouth. So if not that, what does it need to be? 1,500 people?
There you go.
5,000 people?
I don't know if you could do that here. You could try it on here.
You say, all right, okay, you know what?
I would save it for the main channel.
We will no longer have a Jewish state. Do you do it? If you were to ever do it, the
I don't even know if I have it
last
turned
time
on on this one.
after they targeted your civilians. If people can't find common ground, again, in just supporting that, if nothing else, at this moment in time, of course, Israel has the right to defend itself. And yes, that means counterstrike. If you can't agree with that at this point, I'm not talking about American funding, I'm not talking about American bodies, then I would say you do need to have you need a gut check. Because then there is no world, no scenario in which it would ever be appropriate for Israel to defend itself. Meaning, you don't believe that there should be a state of Israel. But even if you feel that way, even if you don't believe that there should be Israel, a nation, okay, I think that you're ignoring what happened after World War II, the Holocaust, these people needing somewhere safe. I think you're ignoring that. Fine. If you don't believe that Israel should exist, do you think they should evacuate after the targeting and murdering in one day of 700 innocent civilians? Is that the time to evacuate? What do you think that'll do to that area of the world? What do you think? Let's say Hamas gets control of all of Israel tomorrow. Okay, it's got to be.
They still want to kill the Jews.
Well, not only that, but let's think of the people of Palestine. All right, the people of Palestine. They have all of Israel now. They have room to stretch their legs. Do you think they're going to be better off? What's the end game? You do have the end game from one side of Hamas is nothing but destruction. It is a cult of death. You have to at least admit that. Let's say you believe that Israel and the Jews don't like Muslims and they don't like the Arabs and they treat them like second-class citizens because you ignore all the terrorist threats and that they have to live under a constant threat of being blown up.
Look at this guy behind me.
All those premises. Can you at least agree that the Israeli government does protect its own people?
This guy's right on my
Does
bumper.
allow their own people to have technology and economy, contribute.
Where the hell am I going to go?
Ever does? If they took over all of it, What would Hamas do for... I'm not talking about what Hamas would do to the Jews. Let's say the Jews are gone from that region. Would they treat their own people the way the Israeli government treats their own people? Even if we're being tribalistic with them. When I hear people, I walk it down the line, I go, that's a great point. The people of Palestine have no hope until Hamas is every single member of Hamas is executed with prejudice. We need to grab the Palestinian people by the go, okay, you see that fuck up? You see that fuck up that you voted those people in? Don't do that again. Otherwise, you're all on the shit list. So I want to hear it from you. I condemn Hamas. Until that happens, and let's be honest, it won't. How do I know? Because they wouldn't do it in Dallas or Dearborn. You think they're going to do it in the Gaza Strip? This is one of those scenarios where it really is pretty black and white, in an understanding of the world that there are people who are simply looking to commit evil, and there are people who are hell-bent. These people wake up every day. You don't understand this because you live in the United States of America. There are people who wake up every day. As soon as their head pops off the pillow, how do I kill today? That's it. It's like a rabid dog. Even if it's not their fault. Let's say they have epilepsy. I had a relative, had an aunt who had a dog with epilepsy. They had to put down because the thing would go into seizures and would become incredibly violent. Guess what? It's still biting kids. At a certain point, the why doesn't matter as much as the what. And the what is never ending, even if Israel packed up and left tomorrow. This has nothing to do with funding. It has nothing to do with sending American bodies. What do you think, genuinely, you can comment, would happen if Israel packed up and left tomorrow and said, all right, uncle, and Hamas had its way? Not to the Jews, to the Palestinian people. They'd be screwed, blued, and tattooed worse than if it was a one-state solution with nothing but Israel. How do I know? Because they say so. See you tomorrow.
See if he gets around me this time between these two trucks. I mean, I'm doing like 14 miles an hour over the speed limit. I'm not going fast enough for this guy. Here he goes. Gonna pass everybody on the right. Now he don't want to come in front of me. All right, that's over with. Oh, here he comes, Kilo Alpha Charlie 4582. And he's getting off there. Oh my God. Oh, I was going to get over for you, buddy. Let's see. What else we got to work with here? Balzan, I know. I mean, oh, live.
Conservative speaker in decades, and there are a lot of more moderate members who have much more moderate voting records.
They're voting on a speaker?
Jordan. And, you know,
and I was enjoying this no government thing for a while.
Vote against your party's nominee. Usually, moderates have caved in the past when they've come to votes like this. But, you know, this is potentially a career-defining vote for a lot of these members, many of whom are in districts that Joe Biden won in 2020 and are sort of on the bubble. And, you know, the Democrats certainly are already hoping to use this vote to try to win back the House next year.
All right, so that's some good analysis there from Bloomberg. I think that's some interesting stuff that he said. And I think we're going to be curious to see what the math looks like, right? The math, you know, here is not a strong suit of ours. All right, gosh, we're going to have to open up some spreadsheets and get the calculus tables out, get the slide rules, click to do all the calculations. So hopefully somebody can help us with that.
I don't know if I
But
believe
this is
that, Jared.
Axios, right? Axios is reporting, I think they posted this 22 hours ago. Let's see if there's any updates here. So Jordan is shoring up support from detractors in the bid. The House has been without a permanent speaker, which is like a catastrophe. Here you see the House Armed Services, who told reporters on Friday
I don't know if their population went up.
Ohioan could do to win his support. But he said Monday that he will vote for Jordan. So this guy flipped. Representative Ann Wagner, another self-proclaimed Never Jordan person, said in a statement, too much is at stake to hand control over to the House, to the Democrats. Right? There's been some concern that people are going to jump over, some Republicans are going to jump over and join the left to get Hakeem in as the speaker. That would be just a bad thing if that happened. So this other person is now joining Jordan. It says, after having a conversation with Jim Jordan about how we must get the House back on the path, I will be supporting him for speaker. That came from California Representative Ken Calvert. Vern Buchanan, Florida, said the same thing, but we do have a couple no votes. Jordan was facing a block of 10 to 20 no votes as recently as Sunday. By Monday, that was down to 7. Woo! One Republican said, my bet is Jordan's going to pull this off, said that Republican. They tell us how we got here, and they're wondering how he...
I don't hate either.
You know,
I mean,
the old-fashioned way. Jim Jordan, in a Dear Colleague letter on Monday, let's see what this says. When did this one come out?
maybe more people
Oh, wow. This came out yesterday.
came out
Let's read this
in
one,
that
shall we?
faith.
Let's mark this up. Let's red pen it, baby. We love when we just stumble across a PDF here that we get to mark up that's relevant to the conversation. All right, so Jim Jordan sent this to colleagues Monday.
But I don't believe all the Zionist rhetoric either.
Colleagues, fellow congressmen. The principles that unite us as Republicans are far greater than the disagreements that divide us.
All I know is humans are evil. I don't care what faith you have. There's been evil amongst them all.
The country and our conference cannot afford us attacking each other right now. It is time we unite to get back to work on behalf of the American people. Jim says, as Republicans, we are blessed to have an energetic conference comprised of members with varied backgrounds, experiences, and skills, just like the country we represent. We may not always agree on every issue with Bill. It's all right. We don't march in lockstep like our Democrat colleagues. We value the discussion and the robust debate that generates effective public policies, rooted in common sense and conservative principles. It's an honor to receive our conference's nomination as Speaker designate. Over the past weeks, each of you have communicated the issues that matter most to you and your constituents. You've discussed frustrations about the treatment Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise and the events over the past month. You've been honest and open, and I appreciate the candid conversations. In these conversations, we've also discussed your thoughts on how we can best move forward, and we must move forward. Jim says the role of the Speaker is to bring Republicans together. That's what I intend to do. We'll make sure there are more Republican voices involved in our major decisions beyond the 5 families. Our goal is to empower our committees and committee chairs to take the lead on the House's legislative work through regular order. This will bring us together to pass responsible legislation, fund our government, and support our military. I will tirelessly work to defend and expand our majority and help every Republican member back at home. He finishes, our Republican vision for America is grounded in boundless optimism. America is a nation of explorers and risk takers. I like that. I like that. There is nothing that the United States can achieve, no limit to our nation's success. As Republicans, we innately believe these things. When Republicans come together, there is no measure to what we can achieve for the American people. Sincerely, Jim Jordan. Good letter. I like that. I like that word. So I like that he said explorers and risk takers. I think this is good. You know, when you label things.
Well, my grandfather's seen it. I don't know if it was in Poland. I think it was in Germany. But my grandfather's seen a camp.
I think that this is in alignment with America's founding culture.
You've seen the ovens.
From our very founding, exploring things and taking risks. We talked about the great risk-taking filter that I think exists in America. A lot of people who are risk averse never crossed the seas, never came to the country. So America has, just by virtue of immigration.
Oh, absolutely. I agree.
To take risks, which is why the country has a higher propensity towards, I think, entrepreneurship and economic endeavors. So interesting letter. I like that from Jim. And you can see he's good, man. Jim Jordan's good at, I think, tap dancing around and kind of straddling both sides. You remember that scene from Spider-Man? Remember that scene from Spider-Man where he's like holding the subway? Spider-Man. Subway. Remember when he's like here, like holding the subway from exploding off the thing? Let's see. This is it exactly right. This is the scene. Okay, this is Jim Jordan right now. This is Jim Jordan right now. This is from the Spider-Man movie. Okay, here's Jim Jordan. On the left, we have the mainstream Republicans, okay, the Ken Buck crowd, right? All the people. And then on the other side, on the right, you've got the Freedom Caucus. So Jim Jordan's like, trying to save it. Right? You guys get it? And we'll see if he pulls it off, man. We've got a lot of people here who are wanting this whole thing to crash. Let's see what happens. Now, where are we at the vote? Let's check back in. We got some activity. Full upper balcony here. All the laptops out. Members are voting to establish quorum. 2 minutes remaining here. So we got some time to say hello before we get to the quorum vote. Who do we have here on this lovely day? It is a beautiful Tuesday. And you know what that means when it's Tuesday. It means that it is Taco Tuesday. We got Tanya Karras in the house. Good morning, Tanya. Happy Taco Tuesday. Beef and noodles, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, and strawberry cheesecake. And that sounds like a hearty meal, right? Beef noodles, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole. Woo-woo. On your taco, it sounds delicious. Tanya, thank you so much for coming on up and get us started. And it sounds delicious. And it is a taco Tuesday. I don't know what's on the agenda for the. I didn't have a plan for dinner tonight, but tacos sounds good. Honestly, I make a veggie soup. Soup's good too. It's about to be soup season here very soon. We got Jerry's here. Golden Gaming's here. Mr. Brownstone's in the house. What's up, Mr. Brownstone? Age life. Wow, who are you fond of? That's a good question. Anybody know who lives on? Maybe Pelosi, Schumer, McConnell, and Biden or something. I don't know. Anybody have any idea who that is? James Pepper says, Rob, remember the 5th of November. Got the idea from well, we got that idea from history, I think. We forget that every day. Bush. Mr. Brownstone says he's on the 5 families list. Ozzy Tacos, craziest here. We got T. Lewis is saying hello and good morning. Says hello, Rob. Hello, my fellow watchers. Hope everyone is having a wonderful vote for speaker Taco Tuesday. Yeah, so they must be going down.
Add that whenever we do the desktop stream.
Bush has the 5 families. Jerry says, Rob, did they assign someone to help Jamal get into Congress since he has such difficulty understanding the doors? I don't know. For Jamal. Yeah, he's having a difficult time with Congress, so we'll have to see.
I'm not sure I believe that. Have you read the
without setting off any fire alarms? Oh, the clock is ticking.
White Pill?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Heard the White Pill? He just said that like so their logarithm wouldn't pick it up.
Presents. We've got, all right, let's try to do some math here.
The old
What's the total?
chat monitors that YouTube has.
5. too short, right? Who's there? Who are we missing? Okay, so the not votings now are swapping over to the votings. Very curious. Now, I'm also curious what the X is saying about this stuff. Is Jim Jordan tweeting or any of these Congress people tweeting? Let's see if Jordan has said anything. Does my mic keep dropping down? What's going on over here? All right. Jim Jordan, what's he up to? That was the letter that he posted. He's talking about additional steps we're taking to destroy Hamas. Iran sanctions. He posted this yesterday. He's got Chairman Rogers is on board supporting him. Listening for some activity. And who are the holdouts, I guess? Who are the people still holding out?
Yeah, it's just at that exit. There's one on each side of the
Let's see
exit.
if we can just do a search for speaker and see what the latest is.
Not sure if it's a great idea to have two giant roundabouts like that on each side of the exit. In the same place, you have 10 weed dispos.
Here's what Kev says. My prediction. Woo, from
Ooh, coffee
Kev.
sounds good.
Kev
I think
says
I'm
my
going to stop
prediction
and
is
grab
Jim
some
Jordan
from
56 speakers
this
in the
coffee
House.
place up
Wow.
here
He
downtown.
said this just 3 hours ago. Here's Kev.
Coffee does sound good.
Here, let's turn off the. Listen to Kev.
On the first round of votes. But you got to understand, why do we have this chaos? It's because Matt Gaetz and 7 other Republicans joined with every single Democrat to take out the Republican speaker. Can you imagine that, Sean? Joining with every single Democrat to try to take out the speaker and create this chaos. Simply for the fact
going on
that
up
I
here?
believe to this day, and I will go down and believe it's the right decision, our troops are sitting in the Mediterranean right now. Their family just got paid. And could you imagine if we followed Matt Gaetz and not made sure that our troops were getting paid, that we're asking them to defend this country while they're wondering if their loved ones are...
I was going to say, yeah. Just went round and round, round and round.
I thought that was wrong.
That sounds like a Baoism.
So we joined all the Democrats to create this chaos with no plan in place. And I'm telling you, it's hard.
Temporary red light.
Sean, having won a seat that a Democrat had, having helped us win the majority.
Wonder what they're doing up here.
And think of this: Matt Gaetz provides the same amount of money to.
Oh, McCarthy, you're just a bitch. You're just a bitch.
Nancy Pelosi provides zero.
Wow, so he's just going after Gaetz now. Now, this was shared, and thank you for pulling this up. This came over from Scottish Gal. Thank you, Scottish Gal. It said, meet the 5 families that wield power in the McCarthy House majority. So this looks like it is the 5 families. It all started with the Minority Leader. He wanted to discuss how the majorities would operate. The 5 families represent a range of views. From the more moderate who are willing to work
Jesus,
with
we're
Democrats
just
to
going
the
to stop traffic in both
ultra-conservative.
directions for no
They
reason.
just have them like broken down. Let's examine where they fit in the conference. So the Freedom Caucus, the Republican Study Committee, the Problem Solver Caucus, the Republican Governance Group, and the Main Street Caucus. I guess those are the 5 families. So it's not actual families. It's just like, it's like, I guess it's these five like
Oh, yeah?
groups. Problem Solver.
How was it?
Republican Governance
In
Group,
Monroe?
Republican Main Street, Republican Study, and House Freedom Caucus. So beyond that, I guess
Yeah, so documentary
people feel
chats.
like neglected, like they're outside of
Perfectly
the
placed.
mainstream. And so that's what the letter was about. The letter was referencing
I mean, literally, nobody going in either direction.
unifying those
So they can trim trees.
those groups, I guess. Each group is a quote family, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I was like, what 5 families? Who's in charge? Interesting way to call it. No mention that he didn't fulfill his promises from McCarthy, says Nathan. Political Mom says,
Yeah, they're trimming fucking trees.
Idaho Simpson is a holdout. I'm so angry. They won't even listen to me because I'm in a different point of Idaho. Boise runs Idaho. That's interesting. So let's see what that person says. So Representative Simpson, and there was a suggestion to go over to Marjorie.
Idaho, no Idaho.
And see what she's saying this morning. So let's do that. See what she's up to. And here's Marge. She's posting, yeah, I'm a hard no on that. All right, here's Jordan. So Olivia Beaver says,
Yeah.
Jordan is raising the idea of putting $6 billion in Ukraine.
That's why I make sure I stay on top of the trees, and
Right, he's like
that will at least that big tree in my front yard. I'm the one that's going to trim that. Stay the fuck away from my tree.
Jordan is raising the idea of putting $6 billion in Ukraine aid. And
The
$10
thing
billion
drops
in
so many
Israel aid
sticks.
in a supplemental.
Little maple tree.
Jordan spokesman denied he said that in a statement. It says, Mr. Jordan has said that we would work to figure out the right approach, whatever that means. But one of those members who spoke on condition of anonymity perceived it differently. He said, I was given the impression that we would do, not that we would consider it in a supplemental, that we would do it, not
There was your house, yep.
in a supplemental, right? And, you know, like I think we talked about this when this whole thing was going down. We're like, look, there are a lot of backroom deals, and Congress just makes them in order to get stuff done, and you don't have any idea what's coming out on the other end. So it makes me nervous. And one of the things that I'm most nervous about, which really feels like it has stalled out, is the Biden investigations. Like all the impeachment, all inquiry, all that stuff is just like.
Well, it's pretty old. I think that house is definitely over 100 years old.
I have one little thing that I'll talk about later today on the show.
The building I work in, just the little building on the front there is 180 years old.
All right, so Marjorie
It was built in 1840.
a hard no on that, right? There's $2.3 billion for Israel and the state foreign ops bill that we passed, and the Senate needs to pass.
I know you've heard me say that a million times.
We need to secure our own border first. Says, I supported Jim Jordan for Speaker this entire race. I'm excited to vote for him on the floor today. He's ready to unite our conference.
It's where General Custer was from.
Saying, let's get it done. Now here, we got 424 and 9. Still bringing those in.
Yeah, 1840.
So we've got 2 people missing.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, and let's check what the.
Oh my God, you beat me to the fucking.
Idaho rep was.
You were there first. Now you're gonna crawl.
So Marjorie's voting. She did a 25-minute stream on the gag order hearing. I'm sure that's interesting. And she told Kamala Harris that we need to ban her. America needs a ban on communist politicians like you. Oh gosh. Okay, so let's talk. What's the Simpson from Idaho? Let's see if Simpson's here. Congressman Mike Simpson.
Oh my God.
Proudly representing Idaho's 2nd district. Apparently he's a holdout. Let's see if he said anything. Nope, they're holding office hours.
Yeah, these points don't mean nothing.
Hunting licenses.
Just occupying you.
And talking about poaching. All right.
Where you going, homie?
So that's great.
There's the old
I wonder if he's got
bail bondsman that drew a gun on freaking media. It's like throw up and running again.
No surprise that we have hunting licenses.
I hadn't seen that light on in forever.
He's not saying anything. All right, let's say Jordan.
But they're just hoping that
see if
he forgot about it. I am grabbing a cup of coffee. It would be a rotten buck.
And Wagner, but these are kind of old numbers, right? These are old dates. So
I'll leave you guys.
yeah, we still look like we're missing 2 people there in the house. So who was not going to be there? All right, let's see if we have somebody who's like in the room. Here's what Politico has for us. They say Democrats prepare to chain the GOP to the far right Jordan, which is fine. Far right Jim Jordan? Okay. Jordan prepares for multiple speaker ballots with detractors dug in. All right, here this looks like a good update. So 10:38 Eastern time, just not too long ago. House Republicans may just be hours away from finally ending the saga. Still a pretty big if here. Jordan remains short of the 200. He's accumulated a surprising share of support, but he still remains short of the 217 votes needed to hand him the gavel. He currently faces opposition from at least 5 members, many of whom deeply distrust the right flank. An aggressive but not an entirely friendly pressure campaign has gone underway. This person, Representative Don Bacon from Nebraska. He is one of the current holdouts. He told Jordan during a Monday meeting that he's a no. Said, I think some people are so scared of a primary that it shakes them, but I'm a no. He said, Jordan's nice, but the threats don't work on me. I don't appreciate it. So Nebraska Representative Don Bacon, which is just an insult to a delicious meat. Even so, Jordan will press ahead with the House-wide speaker vote at noon. That's the day where every member will be forced to stand up one by one and declare who they vote for speaker. So we'll do the quorum votes, and then I think they're going to come back like at, well, a few hours. Some lawmakers think it's going to take multiple ballots, but some GOP lawmakers believe that he may not have the deep backing to last the 15 ballots that it took McCarthy back in January. Multiple House Republicans think if Jordan fails to get the needed votes by the 3rd ballot, the Republican would start losing more support. Right? And if they look, man, if they can't get Jordan in, it's going to be McCarthy, right? They're going to bring McCarthy back. Some of the members currently opposed to Jordan, like Rep. Carlos Jimenez of Florida, have vowed to vote, there it is, for McCarthy on the floor, though many GOP lawmakers believe the pressure from the rest of the party will lead them to eventually fold. But while Jordan has picked up critical votes, including the previous never Jordan Republican, like Mike Rogers and Ann Wagner, he's faced an entrenched band of opponents. One House Republican granted anonymity said, I get the impression the line is holding. They noted Monday night that some members gave, quote, tricky answers when asked if they would support Jordan on the 1st ballot or subsequent votes. You know, I saw one of those tricky answers from Victoria Spartz, and I wasn't really sure what she was talking about. Let's see if we have this. She got asked about this. Let's see if we can find it another way. It's not popping up. Yeah, here was one. I think this is it.
We did a press release and I posted it on my website to explain what my objections are. And my objections
All right. Got my Lutopia with 3 shots of espresso in it.
not try to push people on the floor before we find consensus. I truly believe this intimidation techniques, the cheering unacceptable. I didn't like what Kevin did last time, and I hope Jim is going to change his views on that. He didn't say objective on Friday night, but hopefully he will have a different.
So who are you going to vote for tomorrow? Who are you going to vote Who are you going to be voting for tomorrow?
The shitter getter, yeah. Almost ran me over. I almost stepped him right in front of him. I was like, oh, shit.
he doesn't have 217, the best I can do is maybe vote present. I'm okay to be 217, but if he has 210, I'm not going to be 211. Like, what is that? What does that mean?
Procedural objection.
Congressman, can you tell us what your message was in conference today?
I'm very clear and very transparent. I have a procedural objection. I can acknowledge it in all cases, but I don't want to say they would have, he didn't reconcile differences in the conference and force it. That's my objection.
So you're frustrated that they didn't figure out who has 217 before that?
That was actually an agreement with them to do. So I don't know now if I have 217, but I have an objection if he doesn't. You know, so I truly believe if he doesn't, we
All right.
go back and have board meeting and try to reconcile our differences privately versus go on the floor and have a show that only benefit the other side. I'll be honest with you.
So right now it doesn't look like he has 217.
I do not know.
No,
I don't know.
but we've been speaking to folks out here. So if right now it doesn't look like he has 217.
If he doesn't have 217, the least that the best I can do maybe vote present.
But you wouldn't vote for him.
I will not vote for Jim if he doesn't go first and try to reconcile it in the private conference meeting that we talked Friday night, which I completely disagree with. That is my objection. What if you're
That's delicious.
Well, if I do 217, I'm fine. You know, I'm okay to be 217, but if he has 210, I'm not going to be 211. Thank you.
I'm not sure that I really understand that, to be honest with you. I don't. Like, what's the difference between 210 and 211? She's like, I'll get him there if I have to get him there, but otherwise, like she's just going to dig in and say that I'm upset that they didn't do it procedurally the way that they promised they were going to do it. I'm not saying she's right or wrong. I just don't know. It sounds like it's a nuanced objection.
All right. All right, guys. I'll be up in a minute. I should be up by 1 o'clock.
So,
yes, it is
very
delicious.
curious. Citizens
Thanks for riding with me. I'll be live on the main channel, hopefully by the top of the hour.
Eastern time today.
Love you. Bye.
It started already, I think. So they're going to do the quorum vote.